Everybody. Hello world, hello Substack. Welcome to a Shelf Help Club Live with author, entrepreneur, coach, mother of four and burnout expert Bianca Best. Bianca's book, Big Impact Without Burnout, is out now. And today, to support our theme of healing and self-love across the summer, Bianca's going to be sharing some of her own experience of burnouts, plural, I think.
Yeah, sadly, it's plural.
As well as a host of wellbeing strategies that you use, Bianca, and that you also teach, right? So that can kind of help us do great things, but also maintain that all important inner balance. So thank you for being here. Congratulations on the book. Very happy to host you tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be with your gorgeous community. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's your first Substack Live, so
Yeah.
we are a nice crowd, aren't we, guys? So say hello in the chat if you are here, and
Hello, everyone.
let us know where you're joining us from. So yeah, share any questions as we go, and we're going to be online for about half an hour or so. We're also going to be sharing actually a discount code for the book for viewers and for our subscribers. So that's really nice, and I'll talk to you about that a bit later. So Bianca, where are you joining us from today?
Well, I'm actually from home in the middle of my final crescendo tour week. So you could have had me in a Waterstones, but you got me at home. And this is my little studio. This is where I film my show and make all the sorts of YouTube clips that I share with everyone. So home in the middle of a very big week.
Yeah, very busy week. So the book's been out for a few months.
Yes. Yeah, the book came out in March and I've done the US tour and now here I am just finishing the crescendo in the UK and it's just all systems go, lots of book signings and super exciting, lots of work. I've got an event with Melinda Messenger for anyone old enough to know who she is on Thursday in Leicester Square. Yeah, and apparently even Matt Goss from Bros is coming. So all sorts of fun this week.
I feel like maybe we should have led with that for this crowd. Amazing. So you're having to very much practice what you preach, I imagine, right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, more than ever. And let's not forget it's the school holidays and I've got twin boys who've just done GCSEs and it's just hectic.
Yeah, of course. Because I very much this is definitely a bit of me because I really I've definitely burnt out in previous life, but I very much I want to do great things still. I want to create stuff. I like, I think I'm quite productive. I love your idea of graceful productivity, which we'll get into. And I like the idea that we can do great things, but we don't need to do it at the expense of our mental and physical health. And that's
Exactly.
really what you preach, isn't it? What you teach.
Exactly that. It's about, we don't have to compromise ourselves, but too often we just, as our life expands after we leave school, and we just start taking on a career, a home, and all the responsibilities that come with being an adult, we just take on more. And in today's world where technology means we're always on, it's just an onslaught of demands. And none of us have ever actually been taught, well, how do we self-manage when there's so much opportunity? And when we're in touch with our ambition and we know that we want to keep reaching for the stars, we've got to be very careful around how we self-manage and don't hurt ourselves along the way, like I did. That's why I've written this book, to make sure people don't make the mistakes that I did early on in my career.
Yeah, the book you needed. I love the fact you just used the word opportunity there, because burnout isn't always just doing things for other people because we have to, and kind of it's sometimes taken on too much because it all seems great and there's everything, we want to do everything. Okay, so how do you define burnout, and tell us, why are you the burnout expert?
Well, burnout is holistic. That's the most important thing that I want to emphasize. It's physical, mental, emotional, and potentially spiritual overwhelm when we're in a consistent place of stress for too long and it's unsustainable. So we shouldn't view burnout as just being the physicality of, oh, I've got a really bad virus, I'm physically flawed. That's just one aspect of it. We have to see that burnout is holistic. And the reason I'm an expert on it, because it certainly wasn't my big wish when I was a little girl. I didn't just dream of being a burnout expert. The reason I am an authority upon it is because I used to burn out again and again and again and again. And I was successful quite young when I set up my first business. Whilst I had young children, it just grew and grew and grew. And I just thought that I just had to keep on doing more. And the more successful I became, the more I slammed into wall after wall after wall. And the worst burnout I had was when I was hospitalized with total immune collapse and told you're having total immune shutdown and because you're so stressed. And I was in total denial. I'm like, I'm not stressed. I'm living the dream. I've got all my kids. I've got a great life and everything's brilliant. My business is booming and booming. But the reality was I was just in a constant cortisol state that, of course, wasn't sustainable. And so I gradually started to work out, well, hang on, I need to course correct because I don't want to shrink my dreams. I want to be an amazing mom and I want to have an amazing business and I want life to be expansive with friends and fun and I want it to be all dynamic. But I had to learn how to self-manage, and that took many years. And I started studying all sorts of different healing modalities. And along the way, I really started to refine how to self-manage, and that's why now it's my entire business is how to teach others not to fall over like I once did.
Sure. And so you're talking there about a pattern that you went for it, burnt out, healed yourself, and then did it again.
Yeah,
And until
repeatedly.
you learned the lesson.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. And my approach was always that, so the way my burnouts used to manifest would be everyone in the house would get a cold, and with 4 young kids, there was always some snotty child somewhere,
Yeah.
and, I would get full-blown pneumonia. It just went from being, everyone's got a cold, I'm in bed for a week, to then eventually pneumonias and conjunctivitis, tonsillitis, bronchiolitis, pneumonia, hospitalised. It just went on and on. But initially, I realised, okay, I'm physically breaking down. So my approach was, okay, we've got to sort the physical Bianca out. So then the response was, right, okay, need to sort out sleep, maybe cut out alcohol, caffeine, sugar, all the stuff that's bad for you. But just addressing the physical wasn't enough. So then I went very deeply into the mental side, and I've always been really interested in spirituality, mindfulness, but I really upped it. It's like, right, more gratitude, more meditation, more mindfulness, more mental stuff. But for me, the real epiphany came when I'd sussed the physical, sussed the mental, and then it was emotional. And I started to realize that there's this very subtle stress that percolates through our bodies where we just might have a little niggle that we're not necessarily addressing, and it's creating a discomfort within ourselves, and actually that can be creating this slide into burnout that we're unaware of. So starting to pay attention to where I was unhappy and where difficult negative emotions were, that was the real transformation for me, which is why I say it's so important to realize that burnout is holistic.
Sure. But I suppose the physical symptoms for lots of people are that is the SOS moment, isn't it? Because your body's telling you what you haven't listened to. So
Yeah.
I suppose if you're not very tuned into your intuition then, or tuned into that emotional side and that more holistic style, like what's a holistic way of looking at your body and your brain and everything, do you
Yeah.
what are the signs to look out for then before your body kind of collapses?
Yeah, I think it's that sense of when you are feeling so overwhelmed that it's just so much that you don't actually even know where to start. And you look at that task list and you just feel a panic and a fear because you're that overwhelmed. Also, if you start to become quite cynical about other people's success or very judgmental about, oh, well, it's easy for you, if you start to become flooded with negativity, that can
Mhm.
also be a precursor to the fact that you are really out of your balanced state. Because when we're in harmony and we're feeling all balanced, generally we look at the world and we feel the courage within, and we feel that we can cope with challenges. But actually, when we're slipping down into burnout, there's a sense of passivity as well, where it just feels everything is happening to us
Yeah.
and we just can't get control and we can't see a way out, and it's a really frightening place to be in. And that's why quite often physically we slam into that wall and then we're floored,
Yeah,
and then
sure.
we examine everything from our bed.
Yeah, yeah. When you have to, when there's nothing,
Yeah.
no option. And I think, like you say, all those messages, they're the kind of things that I suppose maybe people watching like this would be a bit more in tune with. But do you have any advice then? Because the book's full of strategies of
Mm.
things to do. And would you say this is like healing from burnout or preventing burnout?
It's
Covers both.
preventing.
Preventing.
It's the core essence of this book is that around you have to go within before you can ever expect to affect the outer. And so it took me many years and studying all sorts of healing modalities, from NLP to coaching to nutritional therapy. I'm now about to start a bioenergetics healing science degree for the next 4 years. I mean, I'm going so deep into how we self-manage and the impact that has on our dreams and our ambitions. So the book is so much about get your foundations set around how you tick, because we're all different. And one of the key components that I teach is around bioindividuality. And what that means is that we're going to respond to stress and different triggers. We're going to have different risk tolerances, and we're going to have different sensitivities to life, whether it's to people or environments or work situations or that task list. We're all going to respond very differently. So it's up to us to architect a plan and a way to self-manage so that we're very clear and intentional in how we direct our energy. And that's fundamentally what it comes down to. And really what's in the book is about intentional energy management and conscious mindset and being purposeful, and not allowing our time to be stolen away from us, but really conscientiously directing how we spend our time, who we spend it with, and what we do. Because then, and part two of the book is then we can go out and do all the gorgeous, shiny work that we want to do with confidence and from a place of stability.
Yeah.
And I just learned if I wasn't stable, then I couldn't really achieve what I wanted to consistently, because I'd be in bed having to
Yeah.
go, "Can somebody else run the business or look after the kids?" And I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, sure. And when you talk about like the individuality, lots of us do this. We kind of compare ourselves to other people or to what we think other people are achieving or doing,
Yeah,
being. So I think that idea of, well, I should be able to do that because they can, or I should be able to do that because I used to be able to do it. That's something
yeah,
definitely I feel like now I work for myself versus working for someone else. I'm like,
yeah,
why can't I work 10-hour days for myself when I did for someone else? And it's very like, maybe people
yeah.
shouldn't be doing that. You don't need to be doing that.
Exactly, exactly. And I think when we look at someone else and we feel that sense of, wow, how are they doing that? I think if it's inspiring you, and you think, like, you've inspired me tonight, Substack Live, and like, wow, okay, that's so cool. I want to try that. It's inspiring. So rather than feeling sort of jealous or like, oh my God, how can they do it? That would be negative. If you look at someone and they stir up negative emotions in you, don't look at them anymore. Look at the people that inspire you positively, where you feel a sort of sense of, oh, that's great. They're doing that really well. I'd love to try that, and I'd like to do that well. So pay attention to your responses, because it all comes back down to your energy. And
Mm,
ultimately, you want to be in this positive vibrational state where you're buzzing off good people. But society has done us such a disservice with this whole keep going, keep pushing, and push on through. And culturally, I mean, our lovely friends in the US, the work hours and the work ethics are so ingrained in society that it's so problematic, because it's almost like busyness is this badge of honor. And
mhm.
actually, when we're really intentional about where we focus our efforts and our energy, funnily enough, we can have just as much impact without doing these crazy 24/7 hour weeks, or whatever the maths would be there. you
Yeah,
know
yeah. And I think, and sometimes it's like that busyness is not really that productive, is it? Quite often it's
no,
we can be
no.
busy for the sake of it or fill our diaries with the wrong things, maybe.
Exactly that. Exactly
Yeah.
that. And that's one of the tools in the book. I talk about a conscious calendar, because we have to be aware of how we're focusing our attention. So if we want to achieve and hit all our sheeny shiny goals, it all comes down to where we're directing our attention. And especially when most of my clients come to me and they go, I've got no energy, I've got no time.
Yeah.
And the first thing I say is, well, your time, you are custodian of your time, and it's up to you to fill the time with what matters most.
Yeah.
And when we're intentional with applying our attention subjectively instead of objectively, time starts to expand. And what does that mean? So when it's objective attention, it means our time is being stolen and our attention is being basically misdirected through gossip, notifications, media, news, whatever it might be that's stealing our attention. So that's objective attention. When it's subjective attention, that is when we are 100% present and focused on what it is that we're choosing to place our attention upon. So, what is it that we want to learn? What is it that we want to influence in a meeting? How do we want to convey that? Where are we putting our attention? Who do we want to be with? And when we align attention with our values and we get into this place of integrity, then time seems to expand and our impact seems to expand and we feel a lot better. But we can control that direction of attention. And so the exercise in the book is called the conscious calendar, which is where you look at your calendar and you can look at it in Outlook or have an Excel spreadsheet. And this is what I used to do, literally an Excel spreadsheet of every day from midnight to midnight, all the hours in the day. And I would literally compartmentalize sleep, that bit's important, but everything that matters to you, put it in there and become really aware of where time is perhaps disappearing and where you could modify it so that your calendar is conscious. Because when you do that, it's really easy to start finding time to be present with your children, do stuff that gives you joy, and you can architect the life you desire.
Yeah, I love that. And I heard something recently about asking ChatGPT when you fill in, give it your calendar and say, "Where am I leeching time?" And it will give you
Cool.
some kind of like pointers on maybe you don't need to be, I don't know, commuting this distance.
Love that.
It might
Love
be,
that. Well,
but
if you think about the amount of if for anyone in corporate where you've just got back to back to back to back to back meetings, if you are not contributing to that meeting, why are you in it? And it's so important to cleanse that and to have the courage to say to your boss or your colleagues, I don't need to be in this meeting,
yeah,
and to just start clearing space for what matters. But only you can do that because everyone else is very happy to steal your time.
yeah,
And, certainly I'm in a family where I've got my 4 children always buzzing in and out, buzzing in and out. I sit here and work just on the edge of the kitchen. So around there is the kitchen space. So it's like being in a busy open plan office, but everyone comes in and wants to chat and wants to chat. And I have to just go, shh, no, I'm concentrating.
headphones on.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and you just mentioned corporate there, but I think burnout can apply to everyone, right? And I think
Yeah.
this book is mostly directed towards women, but it applies to both, I suppose.
Yeah.
But you do say that burnout affects women significantly more than men.
Sadly, it
Yeah.
does. The statistics globally, women are burning out at a higher rate than men. And the reason attributed to that is because we still take on 68% of the emotional and domestic labour at home. So, on top of the onslaught of demands running our businesses or being in the corporate arena, we've still got this jiggle juggle at home, and it doesn't mean that our partners are bad, and it doesn't mean that us choosing to solo parent is bad. It just means that the responsibilities fall on our shoulders, so we're extra busy and we have to be super careful with how we self-manage to be able to glide through this with a state of grace, because presumably we don't want to diminish the time we spend with our children and we don't want the domesticity to fall away. We want to live in nice, tidy, orderly homes, but we've just got to really carefully get that balance and work out what we can delegate and just self-manage. And the book is, yes, it's about corporate, but also entrepreneurialism, because I used to run a business as well as, so I had a decade of selling a business and then a decade in corporate. So I've seen both sides and know equally how tough it is. And just quickly, one interesting statistic: after COVID, when we all did our big life resets, there's a really sad statistic that 44% of women who decided to leave their corporate jobs go off and set up yoga retreats, independent businesses, and sort out their lives by following an ideological dream. They've bounced back into corporate because they found it harder running a business. than actually being in corporate. So what the statistics are telling us is that running away isn't the answer. And I'm seeing this in corporate, where you see a lot of people looking to find another company, and over there it won't be so busy, over there it'll feel better. But the reality is we've got to just change within. It's up to us to work out how to self-manage, because sadly we're in an era where the task lists are going to just continue to just get elongate and elongate, and they keep putting up the retirement age, don't they? We're not even going to get our pensions forever. So, you know, the work's always going to be there. So we've got to learn to self-manage now. And I believe we can. I really believe we can thrive now. We've just got to become very conscious.
Yeah, conscious and intentional with our time and how we use it and our energy, like you said. So the book is in two parts. Part one, the foundational imperatives. So that's when you say kind of go within, and then more strategies for that. And then part two is the expansion phenomenon. Yeah, when you kind of go out and do some great shit in the world and go and give your all, you say, and then strategies for that. So what strategies are you? You're still a very busy woman, as far as I can see, and productive and doing great things and enjoying life, and with a big busy family and starting a business and all this stuff. So how are you doing? How are you being a burnout expert without burning out? And what strategies are you using currently?
I really am. It looks like you've frozen. I hope I'm still there.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Are you still there? I'll just keep talking. Everything froze. So I'm at a major personal transformational moment where I've left the security of my corporate income to build this business, and I'm doing everything I wrote about in that book, honoring my values, staying in integrity, and I'm taking a massive gamble because I have got a very big mortgage all on my shoulders, and I now don't have that comfortable corporate income. So, but I really believe in the work that I'm doing, and I'm building up my clinic, and I am working with more and more amazing, inspiring clients and pursuing this dream because I believe this is what I'm meant to do. I feel this is my purpose and following my calling. But the wobbles that come in, the panics that I can't do this and I need to just, okay, get the CV ready, just go back into corporate. That would be compromising my values. And so I'm trying to stay really, really firm in the belief and this plan. So I have a plan, and one of the core teachings in this book is around connecting into that vision of you. So there's an exercise called a vision of you, and I have a meditation, and it's all around connecting into a place where we're at home with ourselves, and we're operating in the world in a way where we're flowing with what feels right. And I notice myself when I'm out of that state, when I'm in a panic or I'm trying to force an income or force an outcome to ultimately try and create an income. And if I feel myself getting very frustrated with my publishers or frustrated with things not happening, then I know that I'm out of alignment. So I'm hyper conscious at the moment. And I would say I am doing my breath work, my meditations 5 times a day at the moment, where I'm pausing because I am in a real state of fear and need the courage. And I know the courage comes when I connect back into who I am. So I do my energy work, my central channel breathing, it's called. And I'm doing that 5 times a day, and I'm journaling every single morning and evening, and I'm connecting in with myself, and spending a lot of time in nature, grounding myself barefoot today. I stood in the rain and did my bring the positive energy in, and because I'm scared, so that's a negative emotion, but I try and transmute that into a feeling of love and safety and certainty that it's going to be okay, because this is what I'm meant to do. I'm in integrity, my work is devoted and in love, and so Yeah, but I'm practicing what I preach more than ever, and this feels like my ultimate test, which is good. I should be testing it, and then the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, it really is. And I suppose understanding that this is going to be hard, like it's difficult. What you're doing is a difficult thing. So it is a lot to take on. So you will be scared. But I love that instead of the answer being work harder, do more, fit more into those days, it's go back to like the strategies you're talking about, like looking after yourself, then you can
Exactly.
do your best work.
Yeah, I really agree. That's the only way to actually soar. But that's not what society would teach you. Society would
Yeah.
say, have a coffee, work longer, do more. And I used to, when I used to burn out all the time, as well as pushing myself, whilst I was raising the 4 children, running my business that just grew and grew and grew too quickly. It was so exciting. It was amazing, exhilarating. I thought having childcare would be me failing as a mum. I'd somehow got that belief system locked in. So I was literally just putting them to bed and then doing my thinking time, and during the days juggling with all the children, having people come and work in the house, and it just that kind of pushing nuttiness. But I
Mm.
thought I was living the dream and being great because I didn't know any other way. And yeah, it was not good.
And now you know better, you do better, right? That's the way.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
So, advice for then people who are maybe not as far along the line as you, as the understanding of kind of looking after ourselves. Like the book starts with energy, doesn't it? So, I suppose
Yeah.
is that where we that's where we should start.
It's absolutely where we start. Start paying attention to our energy, because that is the number one complaint in my clinic. I don't have enough energy, and it's remembering our lovely little bodies are designed to create as much energy as we need. What's gone wrong is the way we're abusing our bodies. So we're depleting energy, and we keep robbing Peter to pay Paul. So another coffee, instead of resting and nurturing, is really keeping us in a state of disharmony. So it starts with energy, but it really starts with self-awareness. And I'm sure your community are self-aware and have journals. But I did an event last week, and I addressed the audience. I say, hands up, who here has a journal? And I mean, less than 1% in that particular
Really?
audience. Yeah, yeah, a couple of men and a few women, but it was just such a small cohort.
Yeah.
And I thought journaling was so much, I've journaled since I was 8. So that blew me away. So start with a journal and self-awareness, and really pay attention to energy. And there's a harmonic energy state map in the book, which
Mm.
teaches you how to evaluate where you need to pay attention to your own energetic disharmony.
Yes, I love that. Love the exercises in the book. And you do say that we're self-aware, but however, look what I was about to drink before we went. This, do you know what, Bianca? It's closed, and now I'm not going to open it at 6 o'clock at night.
Exactly.
This is my Monday night kind of like bad habit. So you've
No.
inspired me to leave it alone, leave it well
Have a
alone.
chamomile tea.
Chamomile
There you
tea.
go.
Okay, my love. Well, I'm aware that it's nearly 6:30, so I could talk to you all night. Thank you, though.
Thank
And
you.
I do. Yeah, you are living proof that this stuff works, because you are, and this is the work that you're meant to do. I know it, and it's so important. It's such important work. Like when you say burnout, most people can relate to it, or
Yeah,
either from themselves or for someone they know, right? So, yeah,
yeah.
important work. So look after yourself and keep going.
Thank you so much. Thank
And,
you.
and everybody, Bianca's shared a 50% discount code with us, which is amazing. So I will share that in our chat, and I will also share it. We'll do a replay of this video for people to rewatch tomorrow, and I'll share it in that, Bianca, as well. And what else did I want to say? Oh, date for the diary. We're both going to be at an event in London in October. So you can come and meet us in person then, which will be fun, October the 18th. So we'll share information on that soon. And then tonight, my members, we're going to be doing a watch party at 7 p.m. tonight of Loved, which is the documentary all about the healing retreat called The Bridge. So we're going to be doing that at 7 o'clock tonight. So see you in the chat. Thank you, Bianca, for being here.
Mwah.
Good luck with the
Thank you
book
so much for
sales this
having
week.
me.
And thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.